What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Triangle. This is your boy D.
And it's your girl, CJ.
And this is the Harvard graduate, Brandy. I say that
What the
because
fuck?
Harvard, wait a minute, Harvard's giving away free classes now.
I saw that.
You can put Harvard in your bio, in your resume. I'm just saying.
You can get certificates too for free.
So yeah, I'm Harvard macaroni cum laude graduate.
Macaroni.
I can't.
That's
I learned
right.
how to make this bomb-ass macaroni from Harvard.
I can't.
From Harvard.
Oh my god.
Harvard.
Well, hello. Hey guys, welcome back. Special guest today again because it's quarantine and we're just pulling everybody onto all of our episodes now. Feel like this is a thing to do for the rest of the time we're stuck at home. First we have Grant from Oki with a secret job because he wants to keep people out of his life. That's what he told me.
You
That's
know,
what
when
I'm
they see
telling
the
people.
things, they're like, "Damn, what does this player do?"
Oh,
I'm
see.
like,
He's
What's
like Tommy from Martin.
yeah.
Don't mind hoes. Don't
I
mind
also
hoes.
wanted to say that I'm transracial and identify as a rich white male. So
Transracial? I love it.
I don't know
when
if
it's
that'll work
convenient for me,
out. Oh, okay,
Yes,
that
transracial
works.
is
That
convenient.
works.
when it's convenient for me.
We also have Patrick from Tech Ninja Productions, also a vlogger. We're gonna put his YouTube channel at the very end of this too, and on our little description box because he has some dope ass videos
Thank
that
you for
I watch. I be fucking laughing my ass off. By the way, I forgot to tell you too. There's nothing censored on our episodes. Our podcast is like keeping it 100. You can
She
curse.
tells him after we start
curse.
recording.
I'm like, sorry,
By the
everything
way,
you say will be
We're not
kept
editing
on.
nothing out.
So if there's anything you don't want to say, don't say it. Okay? CJ's too lazy to edit it out. I'm telling you right
They're
now.
not editing out nothing.
Yeah, we don't know that shit.
It's going on just the way it's recorded. Just a
Just as
warning.
bad as a live recording, yeah?
So you know. Anyway, so this month is May and it is Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. That's a mouthful to say. But because I am part that, and so is Patrick and Grant, I figured we would have them on and talk about all the things that are happening. I know 1 hour is really not enough time to discuss all the things, but I just wanted to hit up some shit that's happening. And Patrick, where are you at right now in Japan? What part?
I'm like 40 minutes from Tokyo.
Okay, gotcha. So you're outside.
Chiba. Are you Chiba? Where you at?
I'm in like the Kanagawa region. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
It's pretty
you,
out there.
you guys are welcome over anytime. You can hang out with me and my dog, you know.
Oh,
So.
you ain't gotta tell
I
me
was like, wrap up this quarantine.
Nah, your
Away.
dog always wants something that you
I got
have.
my
He's a needy
passport.
child. I don't.
He is.
I can't.
Those tickets like what? $25?
$25 tickets to Tokyo.
$25.
Yeah.
Spirit
Flight with
Airlines.
I
Yeah.
never know.
Spirit,
No
yeah.
movies for
But
12
Spirit-
hours.
Spirit's still
Come-
gonna be like $80 for your bags.
You get one drink for 12 hours. That's all you get.
Can't.
One. You better sip that, man.
Comes with a free Corona now, so yeah.
Pretty much.
Fucking terrible. Patrick, terrible. You know what? He might have grown up. I don't know. It's terrible. Anywho, so just to get started, Robert, sorry,
Disappeared.
Grant might be on and off there because his connection. I don't know what's happening. You good, Grant? You good?
Yeah, no, I'm just dealing with some
No, he got business.
you
You
know,
got busy
Yeah.
people.
He got
Anyway,
business. Folks' business.
secret job business.
Oh my gosh, shut up. Do you guys want to tell the world like your background, whoever wants to start, like ethnicity, racially wise for our Asian month here? Like don't everybody talk
I'll
at
go
once?
first. I'll go first.
Don't ever
Go ahead.
So, you know, I am I'm kind of like I'm like all of us. We're
Mhm.
military brat.
Yes.
I was born in Guam, left when I was 5, moved to Virginia, moved to Oki in like 99.
Oh,
And Brandy was like my first friend, as you know.
and now you're stuck.
We were up in Mr. Kelly's class singing Walk Like an Egyptian.
Oh,
When she had
that's
the-
awful.
She had the tie-dye Tweety Bird shirt and the Harry Potter glasses, like, we were like
Remember the tie-dye
eyeglasses.
Me
Tweety.
too. I seen it. That's terrible.
And
I seen it.
middle school and high school was in Oki, so that's about
Oh,
it.
okay, that's cool. So you graduated. Well, you did graduate from Oki, right?
Yes,
Oh,
2004 with D and Brandy.
Okay. What about you, Patrick?
No better.
Yeah, so also military brat. I tell people all the time, raised or born in the Philippines, educated in the States, but raised in Japan. So Asian on the outside but black at heart. So so it doesn't make a difference, But yeah, no. Again, just honored to be here, and thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for being on, you two. So like right off the back, do you guys like do anything special during May for Asian Heritage Month at all? Like, do you guys eat more Asian food? Because I do. I eat way more Asian food.
I go out of my way to make sure.
I go out of my way.
I go out.
Me, well, I live with half Vietnamese, half white people, and my roommates make like bomb ass Vietnamese food. So
you got the nuns.
Yeah.
Actually
the area that I live in, like before coronavirus, it was like Korean barbecue, like at least once a week.
I miss the KKBQ.
Hot pot.
Me too.
Ooh.
We're all like food.
Thai food. Like,
it's man.
So
honestly,
sad.
I can live off Asian food for the rest of my life.
Right. I'm actually kind of jealous of Patrick because he's still in Japan and I see him eating all the things online.
Yeah, honestly, I can't leave Japan because of what I enjoy to eat, like food, for example. I don't know if you caught that. I'm gonna say because of what I enjoy to eat, like food, for example.
Okay. Oh, Patrick.
Hey.
I told you he grew up and I don't like it.
So
I don't like this. Like
I'm sorry.
Like, so listen, for all the viewers and listeners out there, in my mind, because everybody is younger than me, like, and on the dance team, like, Patrick, how old are you right now?
I'm 30 now.
Holy shit.
Shut the fuck up. No, you're not.
I am 30 now.
You are a goddamn liar.
I'm so
How
serious.
were you so much younger than us back in, well, I guess, yeah.
Well, it makes sense. Okay, so.
He was 2 when we were over.
No, Nikki was like 2, but like, Patrick is 30 now. So for me, when I was like 19, Patrick was like 11, okay? Like, so for me, I'm just like, I can't get over that he was like in elementary school still when we met.
Yeah, it's that heart lens. I'm telling you, like when I see you guys, I'm serious. I'm seeing D1, like seriously, it's that heart lens. But
it's
yeah,
terrible. I need him not to make dirty jokes. I can't stand it.
Threw me off. I was like, Patrick.
We weren't ready.
The tightest.
Oh my god. No, but for real. Let me get into the real questions. Hold up. Let's get in. So
you like eating bitches though.
First of all,
that's what I heard.
Well, don't send this video to your sisters.
I know. I could never run for office now. So.
Oh no.
None of us can. None of us.
We're all asked out when it comes to.
Oh my god. No.
When Brandy becomes rich and famous and stuff, Elsie's gonna leak our voice.
Oh my god! If the leaks ever get out,
fuck that. I'm gonna leak everything. I'm gonna go to TMZ myself.
Millions of followers lost.
Think about how raw and crazy we are on our podcast. Brandon and I's inbox is so ridiculous.
Oh, those leaks.
That shit ever got out.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because I know the conversations me and Grant have, so I can only imagine you and Grant is probably over the fucking top. Like that's.
I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know. I can't. Anyway, let me get back on task.
Farrah is shaking right now.
Ever let me stay on task. I be trying. Sorry. Anyway, so you know what? Speaking of niggas, let's talk about that word in Asian communities. Do you guys say it? Just get straight up ask. Do you guys use the N-word?
I'm not gonna lie. Before I used to
look at Patrick looking around.
Like just
Patrick's like,
throw it out there and stuff like that. But after having more conversations with a lot of my black friends, it's just not something I want to say anymore. Brandy introduced me to that show, Dear, white people.
Oh, yeah.
And there was an episode
cool
where
show.
the guy was like, okay, I'm just gonna say it this one time, but he goes, why can't I say nigga and blah 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 blah. He goes, I don't care if you call me cracker.
Right.
And the black dude was like, that's your problem. You don't care, but I do. And I was like, damn,
that makes sense.
That's some real shit right there. And then I have this at work. I do I go around to apartments and stuff, and a lot of the residents come out and like bullshit with me. And I had this one older black guy. He goes, you know, Rob, you my nigga and shit like that. I was like, you know what? I was like, I appreciate that, but I'm trying not to say that word, so we're replacing that word with playa now.
Yeah, we say playa.
That's good. That's
These
good.
players.
I like how Patrick looked around, so I'm assuming that he says it.
Yeah, I don't want to lie on my first podcast. Let me go ahead and say that I never say it in public, and I never direct it to anyone. However, when I'm at home alone karaokeing my heart out, oh man, I am dropping that N-word to make my friends proud. Like, but that's just amongst myself.
If we were to hear you, we'd be like, all right.
Right. But like, one of the things that really changed, one of the things that really changed my approach on it was how there was this public speaker, and this question came up, and he explained how he and his wife, they call each other honey because they have that connection.
Yes.
But if he and his wife were walking down the street and another woman called him honey, it'd be, things would happen.
That's great.
It's like, so it's about that connection. And I know I don't, as much as I'd love to, I know I don't have that connection with, strangers, with people that I would like to meet.
If Patrick was in a room with the three of us niggas, you could say it and none of us would be upset.
I'd probably whisper under my shirt.
Brandy might be upset. Brandy might be upset.
Probably wouldn't hit me at the same, you know what I mean? I wouldn't think about it.
You know that image of like Spider-Man like looking at his arm as a symbiote like turns to black? That'd be me in that moment, like, oh, it's happening! It's happening, guys!
Oh my god, no, I understand what you're saying, because I feel like, you know what, I was actually reading an article, this guy who claims to be a hood nigga. He's really smart, but he was like, I'm from the hood, and he was like talking about how people in the hood who have that connection, kind of like what you were talking about, he was like, in the hood, when you grow up with these kids who are white, like Hispanic, Asian, and they grow up using those terms together within their own squad, he was like, it didn't feel like it was derogatory because it came from somebody who you knew for 25 years, like from K through 12, college, work, all of that. He was like, that's not the same as, it's exactly what Patrick was saying. It's not the same as somebody in the streets calling you a nigga out of hate or just because you're black.
It doesn't click the same.
It
honestly doesn't click the same at all. Just like you were saying, I remember this dude, if you're watching MC, I've known MC since I was, I want to say 8 years old in California. And he's white. And I forget sometimes that he's white because he grew up with us in our neighborhood. Our neighborhood was extremely black and extremely Mexican, specifically those two.
Gotcha.
So he hung out with the black kids because he's white. He spoke English. A lot of the Mexican kids, they spoke a lot of Spanish. So you would see the divide there, usually as amongst kids, until we got older and started intermingling between, the two things. But, he was always with us, and he would drop it like it was nothing. And none of us, we all did it to each other. It didn't dawn on me until I got older and realized that this term was derived from racial tensions, historic racial tensions. I didn't even know. You know what I mean? So you're just thinking it's a bad word and we're being cool and we're cussing and we're friendly. And you know what I'm saying?
They're just saying what Tupac said. That's just...
Yeah, we're just repeating what Tupac said.
Basically. Because it didn't even stop in my mind that I may not be dark enough to say it until somebody said that to me a long time ago. Because they were like, are you black?
That's what I got a problem with, though.
I'm like...
Dark enough to say, you black, CJ.
I know I'm black. I know I'm black and Asian.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like for somebody to tell you that you're not black enough, that's why I'm like, that's what, yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it.
That you know what I'm saying? Because
it's
like
weird in that.
it's weird being mixed and then you looking both ways depending on who's looking at you, or
now,
depend.
Now speaking of the mix, I ain't gonna lie. I thought you was mixed.
I thought he was part black too. See,
Listen,
if he
I
had
swear
said
to God,
nigga in front of me, it wouldn't have stopped. Yeah.
Yes, I thought you were black. Yes. I know that's funny, but for real, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
something else.
Well, here's the thing though, like ancestrally, like African like bloodline goes that way too, which is why there's a lot of cultures a lot of tribes in Africa that look very Asian, as well as in Asia they look like each other.
I mean, we spread everywhere, but
it went everywhere.
How we look at it nowadays, we either see both your parents black or one black, and then you one of us. The way most people end up looking at it. But I swear to God, I thought you were missing.
Not gonna lie, me too. What about the other way around? Do you guys have like a very like, I don't know, serious situation maybe that you got into that was like a racist moment or a bigotry moment from somebody else who wasn't Asian, like, or even other Asians? I know Patrick has one because I've seen the video of him getting.
Honestly, I did have a recent. I don't know. I'll call it a discussion.
Okay.
But I was getting heated. But
he's like, I was mad.
This is just my own personal opinion.
Okay.
Somehow the topic of being called yellow came up.
Ooh.
And I just mentioned like because I thought it was kind of a group that I can kind of chill with, like have a conversation like this. And everyone in the group is Asian. And I had texted. I said, I never understood why yellow was a term. Like I personally have never seen a yellow person in my life. I've seen brown.
I've never seen a black person in my life either.
I've seen brown, but I've never seen, like, if I took a yellow crayon and put it up to someone, I would not look like
the sunshine.
Exactly. I could do that with a black crayon. I'll do that with a brown crayon. I'll do that with a white crayon. Everything else. And all the Asians in this group, they just lit me up. They were like, color blindness is not an excuse for like racial acceptance or some BS. And I was like, time out.
Wait, I'm Asian.
Let me go ahead and establish my,
Yes.
And so and I was getting heated because they were like, oh, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not there. And then I was doing research while they were arguing with me. And I was like, I don't want to drop this source on you, but I cited my works. And the term yellow came from, as we all know, a white man,
right?
Who, in the same manner, wanted others to feel derogatory. So all the other Asians were saying the term yellow because the term yellow came out because of physical or because of visual things, but that's not true.
Right?
It was never based on visual. It was never based on anything physical.
So
it was
in Asia,
which is weird because
like in the
every time I see like an Asian person, most of the time their skin is like fair and white. So
yeah, it's
like,
fair white or brown.
True.
Yeah.
So that goes to my point, like Patrick. Like if, say for instance, in the Philippines, I've never been to the Philippines. I'm not sure how it is colloquially there, amongst the people. Is that a term in the Philippines? Yellow. Is that
no?
They use that
No.
Yeah.
I've never.
And is that a thing in Japan, CJ?
No, that's the thing. Like, and
how is it that
only
they're
in
able
America
to adhere to something so derogatory that was made in America? Like you said, they want to adhere to that so much because they've been conditioned to do so that they want to attack you, and you're like, no, let's get back to basics. Let's get back to what the original thing is.
The scary part of that conversation is that those people in that thread don't know that they're brainwashed about it.
They don't know it.
They don't. And I was tripping out because I was getting, I was like, you guys, we're all on the same side here. And you're trying to rep this flag
they treated you like a colonizer.
Yeah. I was like, you guys are trying to rep this flag that you think we came up with. We didn't. This is not our term. This is not for us. This is not as cool as, whatever you guys think it is.
With that being said, CJ and Brandy, how do you feel that same parallel when it comes to the N-word with us? Do y'all have the same sentiment? Or do you feel it's a little different because of what we have done with it through music and the arts and other avenues? You think it's different?
It's complicated with that because we have made the N-word now. It's a sexy term. When I say sexy in that way, I mean it's money, right?
Yeah.
It's so integrated with hip hop. You're not a down, real, true hip hop artist if you're not saying it. Notice the people that don't say nigga, they ain't selling units like the ones that do.
No.
And the ones that actually allow any and everybody to say it at their concerts, because a lot of these concerts, there are people of all different races. I've never been to one hip hop concert where the majority of people were black. Never.
Only down south, girl. Only down south.
Never have it. Even when I went down south, because I lived
Really?
in Florida,
Texas, ours is like that when I've gone to shows.
Buying these tickets out. Now, when you're talking neo soul R&B, that's different.
Yeah.
That's different.
But these hip hop artists that get to the level that they're at, like these Futures, these Drakes,
you're right. Like Drake's concert is definitely a whole bunch of
now,
younger
about,
mixed.
like, the chopped and screwed artists that down in Texas. That's different. Everybody ain't gonna just be at that.
That whole new woman. No, they all over them niggas.
There's not gonna be a
Oh my god! Disclaimer! I don't own any of these songs.
Did we just talk about conditioning? And I was like, yeah, them niggas.
Yeah, I think
them niggas.
It's one of those words now where even how when you're watching a show and it's just written into the vernacular of people of color in the show. It's like, this is this type of guy, so he has to say this because he's this type of guy.
Because that's what goes. That's what matches.
Right.
That's what people want to see. Versus somebody who's Asian, people who are Asian don't be dropping yellow like that. So it's like,
no,
yeah,
like I
true.
think I've used it jokingly to fellow Asians, like in the way I jokingly use the word nigga to my fellow black friends. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so you think it's like the manner in which you use it?
It's the same. I feel like it's the same thing because I will say, like, I'll be like, "Oh, get your yellow ass back in here" or some shit like that. You know what I mean?
Say black ass, like sit your black ass down.
Okay, I see.
But also, like, it's really weird for me because
I've never heard that yellow ass.
Get your yellow ass back in here. Look, one of my black friends here. She's like 100% black, but she's we joke around and I'll be like, get your black ass in here, and she'd be like, get your high yellow ass in here. And that's another thing because I get called yellow or high yellow. I get it from both sides of being yellow, which is
high yellow. That's very black. That's a black term.
So
that is an extremely colored.
Right. Yeah. So I'm high yellow if I'm black. If they're trying to call me
in
black.
the black community,
right.
Yeah.
I've been yelled at, by the way.
I'm learning today, by the way. I'm learning.
Sure I've said this story somewhere along the lines, but I when I was working, some like black dude tried to holler at me at the store, and he was like at the entrance, and I guess his cousin was shopping in my store, and he was like, "Hey, hi yellow, hey." And I was like, that is not a very nice way to try to like pick up a lady. Like, I'm just not, I don't know if you know, that is like a derogatory.
You're not a lady, you're a color.
I'm a colored. Which also I was called by some lady looking for me at the same store by a different white lady who was like, "Hey, where's that colored girl that was here yesterday?" Is what my coworkers
was
got
it colored girl or was it colored gal? Because that's different.
It's probably gal.
Colored gal. That shit makes me want to fucking scratch somebody's eyes out. Where's that colored gal?
And this, now mind you, this colored conversation, because I had already quit my job now, but like, that happened in the end of 2017, so that's only 3 years ago. Like, people are still speaking like that, which is like mind-blowing to me. So it's just, I was just wondering, like, do you get anything? Because I feel like I would be scared to call out Grant in any way. I feel like he could like beat somebody's ass because you be looking scurry.
You
like,
look very intimidating.
Yeah.
When you smile,
I just met you, but you definitely look gang affiliated, you know. So I'm kind of like, you know, I'm just saying, you know, like I just met you, but yeah, that's a good thing though.
Grant's never coming back on our episodes ever. He's like, fuck all of y'all.
Like, if I saw you, you would definitely get like, from me, you'd get one of these humble.
What Patrick is saying is he would cross the street.
Not the up, but the down. The down.
No, yeah. You're right. The down.
Like,
yeah.
Okay.
No,
but seriously,
my yellow.
Oh my god. No, Grant, do you
my yellow?
I feel like Grant would be like more called the N-word than he would be called yellow if somebody was upset.
I thought he was us.
Have you ever been called out of your name like that?
Somebody ever called you that before?
What?
Like a
nigga?
Yeah.
Yeah, all the time. Back in Guam.
No, like in a derogatory way though.
Oh.
Like somebody coming at you.
Actually, yeah, I have.
Which
But
one was it?
it
Was
was
it
just
yellow
like-
or the N word?
It was the N word.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah.
Because no one's really.
We all like, yeah.
This isn't an episode
I mean,
of SpongeBob.
yeah, I'm partial Filipino too, but obviously, I guess. It's not-
Oh man,
I
they could
can't
just call you the whole rainbow.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
You and
pretty
me
much.
got the worst parts of all of it. Like,
What's really interesting is one of the friend. Well, she's a
Mhm.
friend of the family. She's a good friend of my mom and my aunts at the same time. She wrote a book. It's called Asian Girl in the Southern World, and
Oh.
she's
Mm.
Filipino and half white. And she grew up, I want to say, in Tennessee. She
Oh.
moved from the Philippines when she was like kindergarten, and she
Mhm.
said she was called the N-word her entire
yeah, because to
freaking
them,
life up until
anything
she
outside
left.
of white.
The
Yeah,
N-word.
and I was like,
yeah,
what?
that is
Yeah.
true. Because even
Yeah.
living in Virginia,
Down south.
you know, it was you were either white or black, and then it was me and the Puerto Rican kid, and that was it.
You guys
That's
are all
it.
niggers.
Right.
That's it.
Fucking seems like you're all niggas.
That's how they be thinking. That's
So,
why,
yeah,
that's why some people that are mixed, and I know it's not, I've never felt this from y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I never felt it from Rob because I thought he's black. But I've never felt it from CJ.
Now we
where
know.
I'm mixed, I'm better, because that's kind of heavy through the black community. I've
Yeah.
always told mixed people, like, white people just look at you like they look at all of us, right?
Yeah.
You don't get to be on a pedestal with them like the black community puts you on a pedestal. Now,
I didn't even know that was a thing.
It is.
Wow.
There's
yeah.
Oh, it is.
We're like,
It's
oh
so
yeah.
deep, it's so sad.
Like,
It's sad.
So sad.
I think the colorism,
Colorism is huge
within our
our
own
community.
society is
It's
like
so bad.
huge.
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
And then it travels into
I think
like,
colorism too follows a lot in our Asian cultures and
Oh,
Pacific
yeah.
Island cultures too.
Yeah.
It's all the same.
Yeah.
Have
Yes,
you
I've noticed that it seems like there are people overseas where I'm like, and I noticed this first when I started watching America's Next Top Model.
Oh no.
And I remember they had an Asian girl there, and I felt bad for not initially even believing right away. I was like, there's no way she's Asian, because in my head, Asian was lighter than CJ. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? Because she had like some beautiful bronze skin. I'm like, she looks gorgeous. But she said over there would be like all these advertisements to lighten her skin
It's the same.
a certain way. And I'm just like, holy shit, her whole life.
Wow.
Have you guys ever, either one of you guys, felt like you, even when you were younger, maybe even, that you needed to lighten your skin to fit in, or because you were brown that something was wrong with you? Like, did any of that ever cross your mind growing up? Like,
The only thing I felt I needed to lighten was the back of my neck and my underarms. Because that
the
shit was
inside of my
dark as fuck.
thighs, though. You got that problem too?
The inner thighs.
Inside of the thighs, the black and wood. Papaya soap.
The
My Filipino
chafing.
friends taught me about papaya soap.
papaya soap
Yeah.
I
works.
got that shit
Yeah.
looking right.
That shit
So
don't work though.
I
That
was
shit's
like,
bullshit.
You gotta get the right kind.
yeah,
Don't
I
get
wanted
that
to get
fake
the
stuff.
right kind and the right spot. I just want to be even. That was my
Oh
thing.
my god! What about you,
Asked my mom,
Patrick?
Mom, does the back of my neck look lighter or what? She's like, you gotta
The
stop
back of
using
that
that
neck.
fake jewelry. And I was like, wow,
Oh,
a drag.
dragged you.
It was for me. It was actually the opposite. You know, I've never. I mean,
Yeah?
again, we're just being honest here. I've never been interested in catering to the white community, but you know,
okay.
everything that I am passionate about, everything that I feel that I'm good at or I enjoy has always began or been heavily influenced by the Black culture. Everything
Gotcha.
from like the
Like
way I tilt my hat, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I've always wanted to be darker, you know.
Gotcha.
But that's just me growing up.
But
Now I'm quite fine being in the middle, you know, especially here living in Japan. I have like Americans thinking I'm Japanese, so they don't bother me. I have Japanese people thinking I'm, you know, American, so they don't bother me. And then I have Filipinos thinking I'm Mexican, so they bother me all the time.
Yeah, that's big here. Like,
I feel like Patrick fits the cultural appreciation that I've talked about before, because you know what I'm saying? Because you're not walking around with cornrows. You're like,
right.
you like.
Girl, if I could though, I'm telling you right now, girl. Tell you right now, if I could, you think I'm playing?
Oh no, I don't.
People,
People appreciate it. We're not so upset that
Right.
it's appropriate. And then even like flipping the question that you asked, CJ, because I think that the beauty standards for women and men are different. So I wasn't surprised with their answers in saying no, because I'm not surprised when the women feel like, well, we have to, because there's always higher standards of what sex is suitable for us than what it is for men. What I am interested in the Asian culture, and CJ can start and then you guys can trickle down. It seems like the Asian men are not looked at as masculine, sexy, the top creme de la creme of what you want to be with. And it seems like the Asian women you want to be with, because I didn't even know, even on Pornhub, that's
like sexualized.
Oh yeah, hardcore.
Just like schoolgirls, thick, thin, you know, nothing wrong with being thin. I'm not dogging, but there's a certain type.
I mean, Jesus, there's a whole sector of the internet just
and I didn't
dedicated to like hentai and all of that.
Asian.
So
I have no clue what you guys are talking about.
It was Patrick like 2 hours ago, probably.
Right.
2 hours ago, girl. I'm like,
do you experience that, CJ? And then why? Because CJ's already said before she's not with Asian men, or I don't even think she's.
It's not that I'm not with Asian men. I guess I don't. I find certain ones attractive, but I never been super. I don't know if it's like a mixture of, because I'm attracted to. Let's say, like, remember The Pump? I was like obsessed with The Pump. Issa and Ken. I'm still obsessed.
Specifically, those two.
Yes, but D, how do you remember all of this? I know
who Issa and Ken is too. I
Wait,
enjoy.
did you say,
but like, you know, like Patrick knows, The Pump is back on the charts right now.
I didn't know. No.
What? You need to pay attention.
My Spotify is failing me. I hit top hits every day.
So The Pump is like back on track since like last year. They had like a huge hit, and then
with the original members.
Just Issa. The rest are like all these dancers from everywhere. Though
Where's Ken?
Ken is doing his own thing.
Wait a minute, Pushpin. For people that don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Sorry, I got real obsessed. Fangirled out. Just fangirled out.
Someone tell their dogs to shut it.
No, so The Pump is a group from Okinawa that went to mainland Japan and like blew up like 20 years ago or a little bit before that, and then was on the charts for a few years, and they fell off because of issues, and they're back again. So
they're like Japanese Jodeci.
Yeah, basically. And my fangirl ass is back on top. They are. I'm back on top because they're on top, and that's all I listen to. My family is tired of my J-pop. I listen to like I do. Like when I shower to The Pump music songs and Muta Daichi and all these other J-pop artists. And then my daughter is into K-pop as well, so it's just Asian music in our
joyful love forever.
So you had them as like your, musical crushes and stuff, but as a whole, are you not attracted to Asian men?
I was, but here's the thing. I don't know, and that's what I was getting to. Like, I don't know if I got crushed because I've always been chubby, and what you were saying, Asian beauty standards, I don't fit any of it at all. I'm brown. I got curly ass hair. I'm tall. I'm 5'8" almost, right? I'm like 5'7.5", 5'8". So I'm already like bigger than all the boys that are Asian. And I actually had this like
no,
I'm
just not. Right? But
yeah. These guys, they all come up.
Facts though, big facts.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. So I don't know if I gradually, because I used to also like have crushes on like black guys too, but none of them reciprocated, I guess. And so gradually I pulled away. And I think I went towards more Caucasian and Hispanic dudes because they were more into the way I look. So we kind of just
Puerto Rican.
Was it kind of like a?
I'm serious. People mistake me for Puerto Rican all the time.
They used to walk up to CJ and start speaking Spanish.
They did at the store, at the Foreign J. Like I remember that dude, that old truck guy who got really mad that I wouldn't speak Spanish, and he was like, "I know a Mexican when I see one," and he like yelled at me.
Obviously not, motherfucker, because she's.
And my regulars were like laughing behind him because they were like, "She's not Hispanic, guys." At like, all. But so for me,
I get that all the time up here.
Yeah, see, so for me, I think I gradually, naturally gravitated towards acceptance. You know what I mean? And so, like, I still watch The Pump. I'm like, oh my god, they're still so hot, right? Like that's their thing. But also, I'm like, well, I found more white guys who were attracted to me. So I dated, I would say like 75% Caucasian, 25% Hispanic. Like was probably, and then I think I probably in between, I'm not gonna lie, I dated 2 guys who make a whole Asian, because they were both half. well, one was
This
half.
sounds like a math problem.
It was because I'm Asian.
You have
But one was like half Japanese, half white, and the other guy was half Filipino, half white. And I think I dated one half German guy, half black guy as well. They were all mixed. So I'm popular with the mixed guys too. Like, it was never like, I don't think I ever dated a full Asian or full black guy. No, one black guy, but that was it. Like everybody else, I don't think I fit their regular
so
beauty.
It's kind of like a water finding its own level thing.
Yeah,
so that makes sense. So what about you guys, with where you're at with what you're attracted to, and do you feel like that those stereotypes played into any of what you're attracted to?
Looks, of course, you gotta have like attracted to someone, but I think I'm more attracted to personality.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a decent human being.
Oh yeah, so you're not caring if they're Asian, if they're this, that's all.
No.
That's good though.
Do you get an influx of us darkies?
Rio Carnival buffet.
The darkies?
Not the darkies.
Do you have an influx of the darkies trying to get after you because people might mistake you for being black?
Actually, I've never had a dark skinned girl really hit on me. It's mostly like the mix and stuff like that, or whatnot.
Because the other mix,
and they're like, "Hey, hi, Poppy." I'm like,
Oh, so you get the whole Latin
community,
like,
and
a lot
mixed
of them
community.
they think I'm.
So the Beckys
Hispanic.
aren't around.
What about white girls? No white girls?
No Beckys.
The white girls.
I don't really pay too much attention to.
Snowflakes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about.
Did you just say snowflakes?
That's not my tip.
No, they do.
That's what I'm not worried about.
I like
no,
like
At
I
least
said, the ones
my concern.
the ones I hear, they're like. I'm just gonna be real. They're weird as fuck.
I mean, everybody. I mean, I guess. Where are you again?
In Seattle.
Okay, well that makes sense.
We gonna push past CJ because she just want to defend her white fetish. We on to you, Patrick.
Yeah.
What you talking about?
Yeah. So I'll be honest. I remember in high school. It still pains me to this day. I did try to holler at this black girl. I remember her name too. Ariana.
Put her out there.
Yeah, she
What's
was.
her name? Put her on blast right now.
No. She's gorgeous. She's gorgeous.
It don't matter. Put her on blast.
No. But I remember I did try to holler at her, and her words. She said, she's like, you know what, Patrick? If he was just a little bit taller. I was like, yeah. And up to now, I was like, yo. Every now and then, I still feel that sting. But I do have to say, when it comes to type, like I don't have a type. I don't know if growing up. I don't know. Wherever
I ain't got no type.
Like, I will see a girl. I will see a girl in the library, and I'm like, shoot, she likes books. I use words. This can work out, Like, let's go.
He said, and guess what? Periods don't stop. Nothing but a sentence coming after that ass. Yeah.
But like, what's weird though, when you talk about like dating culture here in Japan, because I mean, this is my own personal opinion. As many of you might know already, like the dating scene and marriages is all in a decline here in Japan.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of the like how from a young age, Japanese boys are introduced to anime.
Oh yeah.
And in anime, girls are over-sexualized to have massive
big
breasts and she can cook. And she can fight off monsters. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's this
triple Z's.
There's this
fight
girl.
Off or be with monsters, Patrick. What are you watching?
Fight off monsters. No, but like, basically, every culture, every anime is out there projecting this perfect girl that doesn't exist.
It's true.
So so as a Japanese kid grows up, learning about, watching anime and blah blah blah, he's programmed to think, oh yeah, there's a girl out there for me that has huge tits. She cooks. She has a cute voice. Blah blah blah. She fights off monsters and acts so submissive. And I'm like, bro, I've told my Japanese friends, I'm like, bro, those girls don't exist. You know what I'm saying? They have personality.
They stumble across Brandy at Comic-Con. Like,
nah, she ain't light enough. She ain't light enough for them.
I've never had an. Well, let me stop lying. I had one Asian guy when I was in Florida, and might I add, he was probably one of the best ones to court me because he took me to an opera in his nice little 2-seater car. He had a and then he was on some shit.
He had gold fronts. He didn't count.
No, he did not have
gold fronts. From Florida? Like he's from Florida. That don't count.
No.
He said, "Nah."
Is he like East Coast or far East Coast?
Not far East Coast.
You know what I'm saying?
No, he was really cool, and he was very much Asian. And I was bugging because he came to a store I was working at because I was selling furniture, and I was like,
really, yo, how's this bed?
right. I was thrown off because I was like, there's no way you're interested in me, like seriously. Not that I didn't think people find me attractive because but I was like. I didn't.
Brandy doesn't want to be glam.
Right. I was like, there's no way we match. But he was really cool. He even like came to the church I was going to a couple of times because he was he was on some
He's
shit.
From the South. He's not a regular Asian.
He wasn't. He couldn't be.
He's from Mobile, Alabama. He lives in the 93 BLX in Mobile.
Oh my God, 93 BLX.
93 BLX. I already know the radio station.
He was an Americanized Asian for sure, but that was
so he was a Southernized
Asian man.
He was like, I shouted. Did he talk like that?
D is a mess right now.
Did he talk like
What are you on, D? What are you on today?
Drink
life.
That's what he's on. His 5th or 6th drink.
No, but like, did you end up like going on dates and dating him?
I did. I went out with him twice, and he got a little weird after that because it was like he didn't know. And the same thing I've noticed happened with a white guy I was seeing when I first got up here. Because I used to be equal opportunity employer, and then like
Walmart.
Okay, which used to be Walmart.
No, now we got to look at the tax brackets.
Okay.
Are you playing for the Seahawks or what?
What are we doing?
Did you get a stimulus?
If not, let's move along. Get out of the inbox. Move along.
Not move along. I've noticed how different men treat Black girls. I would say undeniably Black girls. And there's just a different type of confidence and forwardness Black men have with me than I've had with white men or Asian men or really any other man that approached me. Because a Black man steps to me kind of like, look, we already here. And he's correct. I don't have to teach you shit. We can just look at each other and already know what the fuck it is. With everyone else, it's kind of like we can learn each other, but I'm still looking for you to lead in certain ways. And it's like, I'm not going to tell you when to kiss me. That's a big no-no for me. And I felt that from the Asian guy or white guys. They won't just, other than Joe, because he went for it.
Oh my God, that's so loud, D.
But white guys.
I wasn't ready. Sorry, guys. I was not ready.
Backstory. Listen to an old podcast episode for that.
Yeah, listen to episode 23 or whatever.
Link in bio.
As forward physically as I would prefer. So I thought that played into the stereotype of, okay, maybe Asian men just ain't as forward with the sex. Or maybe white men are a certain way with their counterpart snowflakes, but they ain't going to be like that with me. I don't know what that's about, but that's also why I feel like you, CJ, where it's like, I'm going to gravitate toward who receives me more. And it does seem like, okay, I knock it out of the park more with Black men because it gets to a certain point with other races and then we're just here. And I'm like, you have to make the next move. I'm not going to tell you to kiss me, Billy. You got to just fucking do it. And it's like they're afraid.
Come on, Caleb.
Caleb.
His name was Brian. It wasn't Billy, but I did stop his Instagram years ago after we stopped seeing each other. And he got with another Black chick and they were still together. And I was like, oh my God, I wasn't an experiment. You really like this? So
see, that's another thing. We're going to come back and talk about the whole experiment thing, because this is a good place to take a break. But I want to get into the relationship stuff because, people love listening to us talk about the love shit. So we'll be right back.
Right back. And we're back.
We're back, bitches. We're back. So, listen, since we're all talking about dating and all this stuff and people stepping to you and hollering at you, my favorite story is when this dude found out pretty sure it was a Caucasian guy, found out that I was Blasian. He asked me if my pussy was sideways and spicy. Don't ask people that
The
stupid shit.
disrespect.
Look at everybody's face. Look at Grant. Look at
You
Grant.
don't douche with the regular douche. You douche with like sriracha or some shit.
You know,
Not the sriracha.
Why would it be spicy?
I don't know.
Oh, God, I shit.
Not Hogarashi. Shut up, D.
He is on one tonight.
Oh, God, I shit.
Can I get a side of Coco's curries with that?
Oh,
Level 5? Would you like a level 5?
Not a level
Level
5. No,
five
for
is
real
under
though.
wasabi.
And that kind of goes back to like beauty standards for women.
I'm sorry. Wait a minute.
She was like, "Don't let this slide."
I thought of CJ's pussy in like a bento box next to wasabi and like little ginger and like some.
Oh.
Let's not give people visuals like that. Let's not. I'm sorry, guys, if you're listening.
This is what it's like.
But I
Like,
mean,
Rob, tell us the tea. What's the real?
No.
What's it really like?
No. We're not gonna get him on here.
It's probably gonna be too spicy for Rob because he's white, so you know everything.
It probably is. I gotta stop. He listens to every single episode.
I love you, Rob. Don't beat us.
No, but for real though, because and what I was getting to was the next part of if you two guys have gotten the whole like because you're Asian, you probably have a small one, I don't want to date you situation. By the way, you're muted right now. Let me unmute you. Hold on. There you go. Did you guys ever get any of that?
Not
like
me.
if when you try to holler at people,
Like,
I have a friend that
problem
did.
this way.
I have a friend that did, and he was upset.
I've never I've never had a girl like outright say that to me, but I think it's because every time I've brought a girl on a date, it's always to like, it's always to show off, like.
What do you mean? Explain.
Like I've never brought a girl to a date where it's just like a dinner. It's either to like teach them something new or to be like take them to like a dance club
You
and
romantic.
No, like I remember. Okay, one of my favorite like, oh, I didn't know you were here moments, even when I knew she was. There's this dance club in Tokyo, and like this is like step up for real. Like everyone in there can dance. Like no one is hugging the wall. Everyone is dancing. So this girl that I had a huge crush on, she was on the opposite side of the circle. She was holding a drink. She was watching all these guys in the circle. And so what I did was I saw her from the side. So I went around like the other side of this big ass circle. And then when the beat dropped, I jumped in, and I could see by the corner of my eye, she was like, "Oh, it was here." And so, I did my thing. I did a little something, and then I left the circle, and she came after. She's like, "Hey,
was you pancaking? You
yeah, I was doing it all. I was making D1 proud. I was making D1 proud, and so I was doing everything. And again, in my mind, I knew she was watching, and everything I was pulling off was because I knew she was watching, but I didn't acknowledge her until I left the circle, and she came over. She was like, "Oh my god, I didn't know you were here." I was like, "Hey, what time did you get here? What's up?"
Patrick, you're a whole ass anime character. Are you kidding me?
And so
he set her up. He was like, "No, she's gonna talk to me." Watch.
So I think to answer your question,
yes,
no, I've never had a girl ask me that because I feel like I've shown like other parts of me than just the Asian side.
Oh, gotcha. That's really cool though, because I feel like upon first like mention or just meeting people, a lot of people do go the racial way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even if you are at the club, but because you were at a place that was like dance hall situation, like none of that was happening. But if you like when I used to go to bars with my friends and stuff, I feel like that whole like, oh, you look mixed, you're like this, or the fucking word I hate the most is you look exotic. Like I hate.
I like that word.
Do you?
Who says
I do.
that to you?
Is it nice? Is it nice
black.
for boys
like,
to hear?
Oh, actually not.
Right.
Actually, a lot of black girls, they're like, you look. They told me that. I was like, oh.
I guess it's different for guys. When females hear it, we feel like like it's an objectification of us. You know what I mean?
So who says it to
I
you?
like to be objectified. So.
Men don't care about being objectified. We already know that.
Boys don't care. They don't care.
They don't lose.
I can imagine him like, excuse me, my
These
eyes are up
players
here.
don't care.
Excuse me.
Excuse me,
I
my eyes
like
are up
a
here,
piece
ma'am.
of meat.
Right here, right here. No, but for real, I guess that's just
My eyes are up here.
Oh my god.
Y'all don't care. I purposely, like when I'm at the bar and when I'm off of work, sometimes just as a social experiment, just for funsies. Single girls do this. Don't do this if you got somebody. I ain't trying to have your ass beat. When you out and about, I can literally invade a guy's whole space.
Mhm.
Like his whole space. He does not stop me from getting as close as I want to him. And to me, I'm thinking, damn, that's a problem, because I wouldn't just have somebody in my space like that. But then men aren't worried about us raping them.
Right.
Or physically being stronger than them.
Men love being raped.
Kind of.
Wait a minute. Oh my god, D.
It's a joke.
Welcome
like,
to the
bruh,
Triangle Podcast, guys.
I'm gonna fuck that dick with this pussy.
Oh my god, with this pussy. I cannot.
We're gonna have terrible ratings for this one.
Yeah, this is
People are gonna be like, no, why did he say that?
Oh my god.
I
Me
identify as a
too.
man. I don't like being raped. I shouldn't have said that either. Sorry. Not sorry.
You can't rape the willing, D. You can't
Oh my
rape the willing.
god.
Is that am I showing my inner hoe?
I was told it's not rape if you yell surprise.
No, Patrick.
You took the cake on that one. Thanks. You saved me. You always had my back.
And the award goes to
2000, you
Patrick
had my
today.
back for the
It
past
goes to
4
Patrick
years.
today.
Not surprised.
Oh my god. I didn't think anybody else could be worse than the D Brandy
Worse
combination.
than me.
I was wrong. Patrick is
Worse
worse.
than me. Everybody got quiet with me for a second.
I'll be like,
really?
refreshing my
Triangle
email,
got
like,
quiet?
I never got another invite.
See,
Patrick,
you came
it
to
might
save
be
the day.
the worst.
Thank you, Patrick.
Oh my god.
Shit.
You know what I was gonna ask you about too, as well, because I want to ask Grant the same question too. But I remember watching, it wasn't that long ago, a video of you getting like a pat down from the cops with your book bag and everything. Like you were out.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so to me that was such a weird thing, but understood, because even though you're Asian, you look foreign in Japan and shit like that. So what,
Yeah.
like, I don't know if you want to give the details out or anything, but like,
Sure.
how did it go? How'd you feel? Like, what the hell happened there?
So, again, I don't know if this stereotype or this feeling came from hanging out with a lot of my Black friends, but I'm terrified of cops. Cops scare me.
Yeah.
And
definitely friends.
and so I was in Shibuya Crossing hanging out, and all of a sudden I was literally just holding my backpack on my way to a coffee shop. Yeah, and then these two cops came up to me and they said, "Hey, can we inspect your bags?" And it's not like the States where you can be like, "No, you can't inspect."
You kind of have to. Yeah.
You kind of have to. Exactly. It's Japan. And me as a foreigner, it'll look worse if I say no.
Right, that part.
I'm like, yeah, sure. So I put my bag down and then I start recording, and you can hear on the video, she's like, no pictures. And I'm like, all right, like you guys can literally plant something on here and evidence against me or to save myself. And it was like the whole thing was just weird because I knew in my hand, in my mind, that I have an ace in my back pocket, which is my military card.
Right.
But I'm gonna let things play out because I want to see how far you guys are willing to go with this before I drop this dime on you.
Right.
And so they were like asking me like, "Hey, where are you going? What is the stuff in your bag?" And I was on the video. You can see me helping them open my bag because they couldn't figure out my bag, so I'm helping them open it. Like I got nothing to hide from you guys. And finally, when they started asking me like, "Hey, can you come with us back to the police station?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, no. Now you're starting to intrude on my date. Here's my military CAC." And as soon as I showed that, you can see them backpedaling. "Oh, sorry. We didn't know you're an American. Blah blah blah." And this is what made me realize, like, every day I take the train, and I am holding my skateboard. I have my headphones blaring. I'm wearing a tattoo. I'm not wearing a Japanese salaryman business suit, you know. And it made me realize, like, in Japan, the locals will never be as free as I will be in their own country. Now, I can express myself however I want without intruding upon others, obviously. But it just made me sad for the local people. But yeah, that's literally what happened.
That is crazy. I was just wondering because I was like, man, I don't know if there was more to that video or not, and I really wanted you to share it for this month too, because I was like, it's within your own like Asian country. You know what I'm saying?
And I mean, I don't stick out like a
you're
white
not
person.
Black. You're not.
And
you know what I'm saying?
I have to tell you too, Shibuya Crossing is the busiest crossing. In Japan.
Yes.
Like, you can look up the numbers. Can you believe they went through the crowd?
How did they pick you out?
You with the, you know, blah, 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 with the skateboard and the backpack and blah, blah, come over here. We need to look at your bag.
You just look like a thug.
Yeah, you know. And it was just so weird. And everyone else around me, they started looking at me like I did something. And I'm like, bro, I'm just something.
Moment, Patrick was like, I'm finally that nigga.
Oh, Spider-Man! Oh, yeah.
Oh my god. No, it was just, I was just like in shock that they even stopped you because like us, I mean, obviously we know you, but even if I didn't know you, I would never like even be suspicious of somebody dressed the way you were dressed with your board and your backpack. Like, what? Like, it didn't even make sense. That was
like, God bless you.
Bless you. So Grant, have you ever had like fellow Asians be kind of like, I guess, hostile towards you as well in any way, shape, or form? Like they didn't know you were Asian, or they knew but didn't care because they were different kinds of Asian? Because you know we have colorism too within our Asian like societies.
I think so. I went back to Japan for New Christmas and New Year's this past December, January, and you know I took Japanese 4 years in Kadena, and like she was kind of rude to me, and like she said some shit like urusai or blah 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 blah. Like, bitch. So I started speaking to her in Japanese.
Where was this?
Thank God I still got it. In Tokyo.
Tokyo, okay, gotcha.
And she was like, "Oh, honto!"
Like, you speak Japanese.
I was like, yeah. Go
like,
get me my katsu curry, bitch.
No, my katsu curry, I can't.
Katsu curry.
I think like sometimes, especially like Japan is a weird culture in general. And I'm going to say this because I've been saying this for years and decades and whatever. Okinawans are the niggas of Japan. Okay.
I can see that.
Yeah, because of the war and the situation, they really did treat us like the niggas of Japan. And so for the long, it might not be as prominent now, but my age group and older and growing up with my grandmother, who's Okinawan and all of this stuff, we were told to be careful of Japanese people from mainland.
Wow.
Yeah.
Night job.
Night job. That we have a name for that.
You know what's really interesting?
I'll be back. I need to take my contacts out. Sorry.
Okay.
Take your time.
You're getting dry.
just to add on to what you're saying, so obviously countries are giving stimulus checks to their citizens to help people.
Yes.
Did you know Japan tried to pass a bill that would make it so only locals would receive the benefits? Yes. So if you were a foreigner living in Japan for 20 plus years, paid your taxes every year, you would not get this money. And you're like, time out. Like, you guys were months away from hosting the Olympics where you were welcoming the whole world, and all of a sudden you can't even support your own. You know what? Let me stop. No,
it's the truth, because I have Sakura TV, so I have like 96 cable channels from Japan that's live, and I watch the news, and it was like, I was in awe, because the fact that they are okay with foreigners coming to stimulate their economy, they're not okay giving back to them. I mean,
exactly. It was disgusting. It was disgusting to see that a politician at this level and that the media would propagate this information
did.
and see that there was no problem with it. Like, yeah, that sounds reasonable. They're not Japanese.
A lot of the just like you said, a lot of the media and the news, like, you know how they have like people from different sectors come and talk on their shows and stuff during the day, and I was like in disbelief because almost everybody agreed that they didn't need to send out a check, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me right now?
Exactly.
But
it's not like the virus is picking, oh, you're not Japanese, so
Right.
I'm not going to affect you. You're Japanese, I'm going to affect you.
Like,
foreigners. We're gonna.
すいません。You know?
But no, seriously, and that's literally how I remember hearing that from my grandmother and people like older uncles and aunts around me in Okinawa, because they would say it's obviously stereotypical stuff that would be like, well, Japanese people will trick you into doing things, they would this and that, and it just was something that I always had in the back of my mind. So like when I see news like that in 2020, it just kind of presses the fucking stamp on it, like it might be fucking true. I mean, these are the same people who told my mother in school that, and my grandmother, that they're not allowed to speak Hogan, their native tongue, because then they would consider them spies for the Americans and shoot them on sight basically, or get rid of them or jail them. You know what I'm saying? So like there's a lot of it's a weird cultural thing back there. I don't understand it. And even when I was much younger, I remember like people like from Japan making fun of my Japanese, because now I can control it, but when you're young you can't. My Japanese, it was super thick Okinawan accent.
Okinawa dialect.
Right. Well, not Okinawan dialect. I spoke Japanese perfectly, but with a Okinawan accent. It's like speaking English, but with a Southern accent, basically. Like you can tell somebody's from Texas. You can tell. I can watch TV and tell you who is from Okinawa or from Osaka, or you know what I'm saying? It's just like that. And then on top of that, we have Hogan that we mix in. Like I remember one of my friends, my favorite story, Rashid. You guys know Rashid. Yeah. He speaks fluent Japanese, but Okinawan Japanese. So the first time he went to mainland, nobody at the airport could understand what he needed because he was mixing Hogan into what he was saying. He was like, why won't they understand me? Because it's a totally different dialect.
Is it over there, like, because you saying that almost made me think about, like you said, Southern accent and how that even plays into like class. So they'll look at somebody sometimes Southern accent where it's like, oh, you're below. Same thing I heard in like London, because they'll have like their British accent, then they'll have Cockney.
Oh, really?
Like if you speak the Queen's English, you're up here. Right. But you say anything else that's on some street shit, you're down here. Is it the
Let me tell you some interesting shit that happened to me. Remember I told you guys I got bamboozled into moving back to the States?
Yes.
It was a horrible experience. But a lot of the people at my campus were from Japan, because there is a campus in Tokyo. In Azabu, I think it is where the main campus is, where the Japanese campus is. You know Lakeland University?
Yeah.
Patrick? Yeah. So that's where I got accepted to. Nice. I was supposed to go to the Tokyo campus, but I ended up going to the one in the States. Got bamboozled, whole nother story. Get there, I ended up meeting a lot of people from the Tokyo campus. And I remember I was just talking to somebody comfortably, like a friend of mine that was from the Japanese campus, and I slipped up and was like, "Narisuruka." And the other people around me were like, you need to cut that out. Like, what? They were like, you sound like you're from Okinawa. Like, that's not cool.
Like low, not upper crust.
They're like, you need to let that go. Let Okinawa go. It was kind of like they were like judging me heavily.
They're like,
I sounded like I was from Okinawa. Like, cut that out. Like,
well, because like even now, I was just watching one of the
little
variety shows that they have, and they had a bunch of comedians on it from like the Kansai area, which is like Osaka, Kyoto area, like down there, and then the Tokyo people. And the people from the Kansai area was talking about how you've made it if you've got into Tokyo programs, because that was like an upper class. It's very classist there still to this day. And like,
are you talking about like schooling?
Not just schooling. I'm talking like these guys were just comedians and making it out into Tokyo. It's like comedians locally here going to LA and making it, New York and making it. It's kind of like that, but even more so like classist because of the way how, I guess because of how small Japan, the country itself is, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because the way Japan works is a little bit different. Like states, you have like the federal government, state government, and like local governments. Japan, usually if the government says so, most of the prefectures just go with it.
Just
Like
what
they
the
don't
national-
have
what the federal government
specifics.
says,
Yeah,
right?
it's not very different. And even in Okinawa, like I remember my grandmother teaching me like different kinds of hogans at different parts of Okinawa and the islands, conjugating
No.
different classes as well. And
Within Okinawa, and you can see ocean to ocean. It's like different Hogan to Hogan.
No
like,
way.
Yeah.
Are you
Wait, so where's
serious?
the bougie area in
so my
Shooty,
family
right?
is from my Okinawan family
Shooty.
is bougie. We're actually from Shuri, and my family's ancestry
She's gonna
is.
say it.
Oh,
It's
so
from
y'all
the-
got the castle.
Actually, yes, we were the secretary to the king. Thank you.
Oh, okay. That's why you're
We were of the courts. Thank you. And my grandmother would.
baby.
The court.
Yeah,
Of the court. You
or
heard
the
it.
courts.
Your Highnessness?
And she said, "All you fucking court jesters on my fucking podcast."
Yeah,
Peasants.
pretty much. She's like,
Peasants.
sick of us.
I'm just, but my grandmother was telling me, like, there's like certain words I would say that I would hear from my friends that was Hogan. She would hear me say, and she'd be like, "Don't use that. That's dirty Hogan." I was like, "What?" Yeah.
Not dirty.
Yep.
I'm like, well, I'm a dirty Hogan.
I'm a dirty.
Yes, Patrick.
Again.
Yeah, Patrick, I'm dirty.
One more time.
But you know what I'm saying? It's very, like, I feel like Asian countries were just as classist as the other countries. It's just not in the forefront because people paint this picture of Asia as one thing. Everybody's docile.
Well, I thought when I was a kid.
Yeah, and I also think it's not to the forefront, and it's something I want to speak on too, because I remember a long time ago reading and reposting an article about an Asian over here in America that felt like when it came to race relations, that they're kind of at the bottom of the barrel. Like anytime people think racism, immediately most people's heads you think black white. That's the starkest, contrast. You're not thinking about what Asian Americans will go through. And I can speak for myself on this. I don't think it's all black people, but I know I have to watch it too, because you'll almost feel like our plight is the worst, so I can't really worry about other people's because we're the worst. We need to be taken care of first. And then the rest of y'all that can even pass as white because of skin color and hair grade or whatever, y'all can be next, but it's just not taken as serious. That's what
I agree with that. I feel there's sometimes I go through social media, obviously looking for things to post on ours or, for topics. And there are times where I'm like, okay, like there's a group and a large group of Black people who feel like their plight is number one, because what they're saying is, they've been enslaved for over 400 years. The segregational stuff's still happening, and nothing has changed for Black folks in the U.S. You know what I'm saying? And like, and then I have my other Asian side where I'm like, well, we weren't enslaved here, but we definitely had the racist situation happening at the same time, because segregation excluded Black, Asian, Hispanics, all of them. You know what I mean? Back in the day. So if you were not white, you were just not allowed. So anything outside of white was definitely like classified as non-white, and you can't do this, you can't do that. This water fountain is not for you either. Not just Black folks, Asians included, Hispanics included. You know what I mean? And I think that's why a lot of just brown people feel some type of way too when we hear only Black people's plights were just as important, because you can't negate a personal, like, I guess, feeling towards anything really, because it's their reality. You know what I mean?
You can't do like comparative suffering.
Yeah, it's and now it's really weird, because then when I hear white folks like, well, the Irish were enslaved, and I'm like,
yeah, hold on, time out. Yeah, that's when you're like, whoa, get in line. Get in line.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. What I don't think they understand is that if with the virus thing happening, this is a really good example. People stopped eating at Chinese restaurants, right? They stopped buying Mexican beer named Corona, right?
Which is
their fucking beer sales went down 38%. That is a lot for a company. 38%. Like, okay, but And then right when all of this happened, Italy had like serious numbers, like in February. Nobody stopped going to Italian restaurants.
And
Nobody said we're not buying pasta. No, you know what I mean? Like, so to me, when white folks are like, well, the Irish people were enslaved, yes, but the system, the racism,
the system and the sentiment is what it is.
all
Because CJ, what did
white
you just
people.
say that your grandma said?
Yeah.
It was like, don't speak like that.
Right.
So it's like there's already a preconceived class.
Because here's the thing.
Everybody's put into a perfect little cubby hole. And it's like, if you're not here where we are, you're no good. So anything that's below that, it's out. And so Italians are looked at as up here to certain people.
Because they're still white.
At the same time they see Chinese down here, they might see
which always threw me off, because I'm like, there was a time where y'all was getting dogged, but y'all dogging out black people.
Yeah, but see, it works for them now. That's the problem. Because it's a system.
Exactly. We're down here.
To quote Dave Chappelle, he said, "You were in on the scheme. You just don't like your cut." So,
right there.
That's Dave Chappelle
of the night.
Yeah. So that's Dave Chappelle.
Patrick with the fire.
No, that's all Dave
You know what?
Well, yeah.
I kind of had a conversation with this one stripper. She was black.
Mm-hmm.
She was telling me, she was like, I used to go to the strip club and sell them pills and shit like that. So
oh my god,
your friends and shit like that.
But you want to air that out? On,
yeah.
Okay.
I didn't.
You do you, boo boo.
You don't do it no more, dude. You don't do it no more.
I'm retired.
He's like, I got retired. I don't need them anymore.
That's why he go by the secret code. He don't want nobody to know what he do for real.
Yeah, but she was telling me, she goes, you don't know what black people go through being enslaved. And I was like, time out. Like, back in World War II, I can honestly say I know my family members went through enslavement with the Japanese people. And we kind of like talked about it, and she goes, and you don't hate them, for what they did to your family and what? I was like, no, not really. Like, I just don't have time to be hating people, but
well, that's
why we learned how to live together and whatnot. And she kind of like was thrown off, like, wow,
you can't have hate, like you said. You just can't. You can't hate everybody.
Right.
Because then we're just doing the same shit that they did to us.
Strong dislike, but I can't ever.
Yeah. Well, I feel you on the dislike part,
but I ain't never like, no, I hate them, and they all like. There's like some people that even on my friends list that I've had to get rid of or either unfollow because I'm just like, y'all are too hardcore.
Name them.
And I'm just like, you're going way too hard in the paint. Where it's just like, no, we can use people as allies to change things. And they're like, nah, what we need to do, because we don't need them for nothing. I'm like, how you gonna tell me the people that invented this structure to help take this bitch down?
Right. We do. We need the internal people to go and dismantle it from the top all the way down, because if it doesn't roll from that, it doesn't roll from the bottom up.
I think where people's disdain with that, and that's why I said what I said, and I love that I read that article, because when people can open their minds and hearts up, it does soften you, especially when you're so hardcore on black struggle. It does soften you to where you're like, well, there are Hispanics that struggling. There are Asians that struggle too. And it may not be the same. I know everybody's different, but it still doesn't mean it does not hurt them.
That's what I mean. That's what I was trying to say.
Going through. Like, you can't, like you said, negate their reality of what they're going to. And then I said, and you also don't want to be the Karen while they're complaining to say, well, me too, and well, and it's like, no, they're having the floor. Like, let them get out what they have to get out. But I think for some people, they just attack that because they figure, let's say in a perfect world, that whole structure of power and raising stuff falls down. People still feel like, well, black people will get their cut last, and it'll be the closer you look and act to white, you'll get taken care of first, because we do see that in this world.
I agree with you on that.
The better your hair, you guys still get ahead of us. And it doesn't mean y'all don't struggle the way you do, but you're still above us. And I think that makes it hard for people to listen and empathize, because I feel like everybody of color should be like, yo, we all in this together. High school.
So that's a good place, because the last bit of this that I wanted to talk about are the recent, like, obviously with the pandemic happening, the racism. Well, it's racism from white people. I want to make this clear for people who are listening. It's racist if you're a Caucasian because it's systematic racism. It's bigotry if you are brown or black, because there's no benefit from us being bigots to y'all, to each other. You know what I'm saying? So when I say racist, I'm talking about Caucasian bigotry. I'm talking about browns and blacks being bigots to each other. But
the same mindset.
It's the same. It is the same mindset. It's very similar, but it's just slightly different because there's no benefits involved. But anyway, how do y'all feel about, like, because I was telling Brandy, I was like, our algorithms on like social media is completely different, because mine really is 50% black stuff and 50% Asian stuff that come up, right? And we were talking about different articles and things that are happening. Like, do you guys feel like the Asian community is backing the Black Lives Matter movement enough or not enough? Or
I don't
do you think
so.
we should be even involved, not involved? What do you guys think? Well, you said not involved. So how do you
I don't
explain?
Think the Asian community is as supportive, because like, I'm going to be real honest with you. A lot of like Asians, they're pretty racist towards black people.
True story.
And, you know, I'm so like, me and Brandy had this conversation. I'm so glad that we grew up in going to Dodea school where race did not matter to us.
Amen.
Like, I mean, you know, besides the people that act all stuck up and shit, like we all got along. It was never whites versus blacks, or, you know.
It was skaters versus rappers.
It was skaters versus, it was K-Town versus K-Set, Kubasaki versus Kadena.
It was just silly shit.
It was just like stupid
Browns versus
shit.
the Blues.
Oh my God, the OG gangs that we had.
When we moved back to the States, that was a different story.
Wasn't it?
That was a different fucking story.
That was tough.
I feel the same.
Culture shock. Did everybody experience that? It was culture shock.
I was. And I'm gonna tell you this: the first racist experience that I had was with a black person when I first moved out, and I was shocked. I was fucking shocked. I was at H&M, and this lady tells me, "Can you go to the back to get me this?" And I was like, "What?" And she goes, "You don't understand English, motherfucker. I can't wait for Trump to deport your ass." And I was like,
Yep, it happens.
And then even at my nephew's school, my nephew's a little flamboyant, and I guess all the black kids like tried to like pick on him and stuff. Like, I had to like
the culture too.
I had to like seriously. That shit fucking hit me, because I had to call up one of my black friends. I was like, "What do I tell this kid? Because I'm not trying to help raise this kid to think, oh, black people hate me because I'm gay or whatever." So I called up my friend Tasha. I was like, "Yo, what do I tell him?" She goes, "Just tell him, say, hey, there's bad apples in every race. So don't think that a black person automatically hates you because of this and that. There's also white people that are going to hate you. There's also going to be Hispanics and other Asians." So
that's true.
So, like I said, I'm honestly thankful to have such a diverse group of friends, so they can open up, so I can hear their part of
their experience and stuff.
And what their views are in life. And I'm glad I did not grow up in the States.
Yeah, honestly, homie, I completely agree with you. And to just to piggyback off what you said, my first racist experience was also from a black guy, a black classmate, actually. And it was the first day of school. Oh. And this black kid walks up to me and he points at my shoes and he says, "You can't wear that." And I was like,
were they Jordans or something?
No, they were FUBU. Oh, and he was like, like, "You know what that stands for?" And I was like, what it stands for? What are you talking about? I had no clue what he was talking about.
Uh.
And that's when I learned that stands for us, by us.
Yep.
And I was like, and I told him, I was like, for who, by who? Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I had zero idea what this dude was talking about. And I think from the first day of school, I created an enemy. But just like you said, growing up in Dodea, I had no idea.
Everybody just wore it.
Exactly.
It's
then,
weird.
Yeah. It wasn't until later on, one of my closer Black friends, same thing. I had to ask another Black friend, like, what did he mean this for us, by us? He's like, that's what FUBU stands for. And then he explained to me, it was made by black people. For Black people.
I didn't care. I still got my FUBU.
Dude,
those
kid
people
you not.
thought you was
Yeah.
black. He's like, I don't give a fuck. Bitch, I don't give a fuck.
I kid you not. I went back to my mom with the shoes, and I was like, Mom, I can't wear these tomorrow.
No.
You know what's crazy?
I'm not.
FUBU is big in Korea and the Philippines.
It is because of because the whole musical scene there too.
Yeah.
That's huge there.
But that was my first racist experience.
You know,
even going into the music, I think a problem that some of us have, I think with other races across the board, is like, if you're gonna take our rhythm, take our blues too. You know what I mean? Like, don't take the cool parts about being Black. Like, I like the braids, I like the earrings, the nails, the hip hop, the rhythm, all that stuff, and then everything else, like you said, it's like, okay, well, we on the front lines, where y'all at? Where are the people back? Like, to take everything else.
It's not enough, probably. Like my most recent one, I think I talked about a little bit on here, and I really posted it on Facebook when the whole pandemic situation was happening, and I was like trying to look for masks at the Home Depot, and the Black cashier just literally thought I was Black and made that joke about Chinese people working with me and was laughing.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then I went back in and found the manager, who happened to be Black as well, and talked to her. My last words were, I thought we had to stick together because we all in this, it's the same way from the other side. And obviously she don't understand that. And like, have you guys seen the 2 teenagers in Minneapolis that they found that kicked the Asian woman in the face and recorded it? Oh yeah, we'll be
posting the one in San Francisco.
I'll be posting that soon, but in the face. They were at a bus stop. There was one Black kid recording it and another Black kid who kicked her in the face. This old Asian one. I'm telling you, I was heated because all I saw was my mom, and I was heated. Like right now, I'm like heated just thinking about it. But the fact that
to do something.
I mean, that's what I mean. Like, so if we're all still at this level within our own society, being brown and Black, how do we get the other people in the caucasity world to even want to dismantle something, is what I was getting
at. They're looking at us.
Can you really though?
No, I don't think we'll ever see it.
Maybe in like 20, 30 years.
But we said that 30 years ago. 20 years ago was only 2000.
When my son's having his grandkids and everything else, they're gonna be going through the same bullshit. I have doubts.
It's crazy that you say that, because there was this lady who posted on her Facebook status, and it got shared a lot. It went pretty viral. I think it had over like a million views. And her status said, "Dear white people on my timeline, what are you teaching your child to make sure he or she?"
Oh, I sent that to Brandy.
Oh, did you? Yeah. Well, this is crazy. I felt moved to comment on it, which I realized was a mistake. My comment was, no, seriously, my comment, it's probably still on there. I had to turn off notifications because I felt my spirit leaving my body.
Oh, right? No, what did you say? What did you say?
My comment was, I put, "Dear people on my timeline, how what did I say? Like, how are we going to work together to make sure this injustice never happens again?" And then I put in quotations, I fixed it for you, end quote. And to be honest with you, and you guys know how much I love the Black community, but I stayed up till 5 defending myself against a community that I hold so dear. And by the time I was done, by the time I turned off the notifications, I was exhausted. And I told them, my last comment was, I spent all this time trying to prove that I'm one of the good ones, and now I'm exhausted. We could have worked together. We could have spent this energy working towards something else. But now I just want to delete my comment. I just want to delete the support.
I'll tell you why they came for you. I'll tell you why. Because that comment to the Black people who answered you and commented back, it sounded like you said all lives matter.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
I see that. You're right. You're right.
What's going on, and then even being like, fix it for you. It's just like, okay, so here we are hearing again how we just can't have one thing. Like, even when I post funny memes.
I saw that, Brandy. I just scrolled past it because my mouth is
What happened?
Some of those people
let me.
And I've had to start
point it out because I'll come for him, Brandy. I will go for him.
It's like I can't even post a regular meme that says Black people spend $250 on groceries and then stop by.
Because I reposted that. Yep.
And first of all, that was fucking hilarious because
it is
I've
funny.
done that so many times, right? And then I have like my dance teachers, some coworkers, and it's probably because they're so comfortable with me. They're like, Brandy's a safe Black. I can say this. They're not thinking about it.
No, they're not.
My friends, sometimes y'all forget I'm Black, and then when I have to eat y'all up, Michael X style, I'll be mad. So I'm like, but can we just have this meme though?
Yeah, you should go look at my comments. I got the same shit.
Y'all are in the comments like, we do it too.
Be right back. Let me delete my comment off that.
What? I've never in my life seen something where it's like white people do this, Karens do this. And I'm like, actually, I've done that. I'm like, this entitlement. And then, but one white girlfriend at my main job, she was like, you know what? I'm sorry, girl. She said, all white people got a little bit of Karen in them. I said, girl, love. Thank you for saying that. I know you don't speak for every white person, but I believe the majority of y'all have this.
At least she's acknowledging it.
I mean, well, because it's a learned behavior.
I love that Karen. Karen that's out for you.
Oh yeah, that's the favorite Karen.
That's the best Karen, because that Karen can't be shut down. That Karen don't go to jail. That Karen don't get tased. That Karen don't get pepper sprayed. That Karen is safe.
That Karen can go get your weed. That Karen.
Okay. That Karen will still ask for a manager, but that Karen's gonna be like, Devontae was just helping me out. You're gonna get out of it.
I love that.
I mean, so like I guess my thing was, like, because I posted this on our Instagram too, because John Cho, you guys know who John Cho is? Yeah. Okay. He's the guy from the White Castle movies.
You guys are awful Asians.
Yeah, awful Asians. 5 points deducted each of them.
5 points deducted. 5
points from Gryffindor.
I do that to my kids every time they mess up Asian or Black things. I just subtract points.
Take it out, yeah.
I do. They can earn it back though by cutting the spam correctly or something.
Oh no,
you know what I mean?
Their spam better not be cut slanted or start out this and then end up like this on the bottom.
I had to teach my older one last week, but no, like I feel like what John Cho said about Asians belonging in this country is conditional still. I'm paraphrasing, but right? It's conditional because the fact that everything got shut down, everybody got so scared that just being in a Chinese restaurant to eat the food was a no-go. But you're cool with going to Chick-fil-A, Burger King, Italian restaurants, all of that. Like everybody was cool with
how they treated y'all.
Blew my fucking mind.
Everything was going down with the war in like 1940 something, 50 something. Mm-hmm. And I was reading about that, funny enough, a couple of months. I don't know about anybody else, but I'll stay up reading weird shit at night sometimes. And I was just reading about that and watched something on YouTube. And I'm like, fuck, they were treated awful.
Yeah.
And again, anybody Black listening, I know we had it bad and still have it.
Yeah, I mean, Black side had it worse, longer.
Asian month, my knackers. So just putting that out there.
My ninjas.
It was really bad seeing it and reading it, and then they still had people that were alive during that time. So listening to them talk about how they were treated, I'm like, holy shit!
Yeah.
Also by somebody white that just decided, because they're always them, just deciding, you're not it right now. It's your turn. So because of this going on in a war, they were looking at all y'all crazy here. So because of this going on with the pandemic, you're looking at everybody crazy.
Yeah.
Eyes slant a little bit, and they don't even realize how fucking insane that is.
The fact that there's people, like, not just this Minneapolis one, there was that one, I think it was New York subway, where a mid-30s or 40s Black guy punched an Asian woman in the face and told her to keep away because she had the virus, and shit like that has been going on for months now, ever since this became a news media situation and sensationalized in the wrong way.
This is why I always wanted to be an assassin.
You see the one in San Francisco?
Which one? What happened there?
It's an older Chinese man was walking and like
yeah.
I felt so bad for him. And then the guy was like, "I hate you, Asian niggas," and I was like,
Asian niggas is what he called them. That's what I mean. But we all niggas to them. It doesn't matter if you're not white. We're niggas.
I hate you, Asian nigga. My mind, I am confusion.
Wait, hold on. Maybe he's onto something. No, just kidding.
Patrick's like, no, hold on.
Oh, hold on now. Let's just think about this. All right.
I knew it. He was like, I'm ready. Patrick is ready.
Patrick said, "I'm gonna get that card." And then
I'm gonna be that Asian nigga.
Oh my god. He's like,
yes. Black people laugh. I'm gonna punch the holes in the card, and you can punch the honorary black.
Oh my god! Can we get him an honorary black card? Like D has an honorary Asian card.
And like laminate it.
I'm gonna go find it.
Oh, I will frame that.
I know you will. I got
my black card, but I don't. Like I said,
I rebuke it.
Rare I would drop the N bomb anymore. I'm just using it for this episode, just for education.
I know.
Purposes.
No, you're good. You're good.
But I will
we ain't
say,
mad at you.
When he talked about that, he meant it, and that was months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he has not said it, not in the inbox, not even like, because we share a lot of memes. I ain't had no memes that was like niggas be like when he gets it, like he gets it. And I think that's important, good. Like with anybody, because I would hate to have like CJ knows this, because I will call her when I'm thinking about certain cosplays or costumes, and I'm like, I want to do this, but I don't want to offend anybody. And I'm a person where y'all can tell if anybody follows me on social media, I really don't give a fuck.
Right.
But when it comes to representing people, especially in cosplay, like there's this, I don't have it on the poster on the wall here, but there's this character that these people I follow did, and she looks like a geisha on steroids, which is everything she has. It's beautiful, and I'm like, I like the art of it, but I don't want to do that and somebody feel away, because I know I would feel away if it was the other way around. You know what I mean? So it's almost like I want approval before.
Like if an Asian or a white person did a Wakanda costume, like
girl, I was just about to, no. Hey, guess what? This is true story. So I did a shoot. Yeah, no, true story. So I did I feel very blessed. I was able to do a shoot for Marvel in Osaka. Okay,
yes, I saw.
And they were Marvel told me to tell the Japanese cosplayers to not do Wakanda.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling the Japanese cosplayers, I said, hey, I know we're all excited for the Black Panther movie. However, we cannot do any of the female fighters.
Mm-hmm.
And they were confused. They said, why? And then I told Marvel, like, they're confused. And they're like, can you explain blackface to them? I was like, I can try, but I don't think they'll understand. No. So super long story short, it's weird that you have this high-ranking company like Marvel telling these fans like you, Brandy, a fan of how beautiful that was. And
wait, so would it be okay, like, if they did not do blackface, if they just did the costume?
Yes, right. but to any high-ranking cosplayer like Brandy, they would want to go all out. You know, they would want to go all out. Yeah. You know, that's like sending in Batman without his belt. You know, it wouldn't make sense without his cape. You know, it doesn't make So it was just weird that this was a situation.
A lot of my Mexican friends here, I wouldn't say a lot, by a lot I mean like 3, lived here in Las Vegas. When Black Panther came out, they went and bought dashikis.
Oh, no.
They said, we don't give a fuck. We wearing this shit. We excited for Black Panther. And I was like, what the fuck? They was like, yeah, that's what the fuck we doing. And they were very tenacious about it. And I appreciate the tenacity, because they said, we love this shit. So I said, all right.
How was that received amongst the people?
Nobody said anything, because these Mexicans were so dark. They were darker than me. So nobody
I was just like, it's like if Grant did it, then it's kind of like, okay, well.
Nobody even batted an eye at them. They were like, oh, hey, you're here for the movie? Yeah, great. It was like.
It really does depend. So like, that just reminded me of a conversation we've had before where me and Dee were trying really hard to explain to Brandy that Japan is homogeneous and it's mostly Asian Japanese people. So when you try to explain something like blackface, there's no reference. There's no reference.
Mamba,
that's the key. You're right. There's
But when they did the Yamamba High School girls, it wasn't a big thing because there is no reference. And so like I just remember like last year they did the musical in Japan, Driving Mrs. Daisy, right? And the guy who was the driver got a perm to get kinky hair. and then they painted him dark brown.
Wait, time out. Perms are in right now, so
You better shut the hell up. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Perms is always
I'm
in
like,
Korea,
yo, I'm
all
waiting
my
for this
Korean
to grow
friends
out
got a
so
perm
I
at one point in their life.
perm this.
Are you about to perm that? Because then I have to unfriend you from all the social media.
Hey,
I just wasn't
not the super tight ones, but
Okay.
the big loose.
But you know what I'm saying? So
because I think that maybe plays into the stereotype that I had in my head, not even on purpose and even living over there, but having that stereotype of, okay, how can this like forward thinking tech social place be that?
Let me tell you why. And I'm gonna reference back to fucking I was gonna ask you if I could use this screenshot too, Patrick, because I laugh my ass off because I tell Rob this all the time. Because Japan is forward technologically within their like the tech sector, okay? But the rest of Japan is not. They want faxes.
Oh yeah.
To get information. They want you to fax shit to their office, and that fucked up a lot of y'all. Can I use that screenshot, Patrick? Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
cool. I laugh my ass off because I always tell Rob, like, he'd be like, why don't you just like FaceTime your family back home or whatever? And I'm like, I can't because they don't use that shit. Like, most of my family members are not on Instagram. Most of them have Line. That's like the big thing in Instagram, maybe. But most of them aren't on Facebook. They're not on Instagram. They're not on any of those things online. And they don't use laptops like we do unless they're into it.
Mixie.
Yeah.
Mixie.
Yeah, Mixie maybe. Like shit like that. And TikTok is still big too. But other than that, they don't use technology like we do in everyday circumstances. That's why it's such a big deal that they had to teleschool while everything is quarantined, because most kids there don't have cell phones, laptops, all computers at home like we do here. You know what I mean? It's like completely different. So that kind of goes like along the lines of
they were having
why
a really good time
they don't get it.
Because I was like, okay, so they're really good at, and this was just me like saying it doesn't mean every single Asian is good at this, but we were all talking. I was like, I know one thing, I ain't seen an Asian yet that couldn't sing and dance. I said, they be singing and dancing, boy. Them Filipinos be singing. Damn, Japanese people be dancing. Damn, they be getting it. And I'm like, okay, so a lot of what you kind of seem to be singing, because I'll hear a lot of Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, like Black artists. And then when I see you dancing, Black music,
hip hop, yeah.
So I'm like, how are we taking this part of being Black and being like, thank you, and then not taking the rest and being like, oh, that's offensive. I don't understand that.
I think a lot of that has to do with just the American experience. So being in the American experience, we know where everything came from. We know why you shouldn't do blackface because of where it came from. That was an American phenomenon. That was not necessarily an Eastern phenomenon. That was specifically American, or I would say Western, because I'm sure it happened in Europe somewhere too, or throughout the Caribbean and even in South America. I'm sure it happened there too. A lot of the injustices they don't understand because they're so homogenous. Racial injustice is like, well, I don't understand why you're so upset.
And that's
why
they
couldn't understand because everybody's the same. What's that?
But that's what I'm saying.
That's why they need someone like you working over there. What old girl say they need the intern? What was the name?
Trayvon the intern.
Trayvon the intern or whatever. They need
well, that's the thing.
I would pay to see a series like that. I would totally pay to see a series like that.
You need one strong person of color.
Netflix.
Look, this may not be the goddamn.
At the same time, how would you know that you needed that until you don't?
That's the problem.
They
don't know that they need it.
You wouldn't know that you needed that.
That exact problem is why they don't have one.
I feel like the
as an American. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good because you don't talk like that. You good? Go.
No, I'm saying like as an American, I can understand. Okay, if I were to start a country, say in Sweden, and I were to open it up, and I would be checking for that because in America, it's necessary to check for that. In a homogenous country such as Sweden or Japan or China, or just a place where everybody is pretty much 99% of the population is the same. You never had to check for that. There was never a situation where it was even important. You probably never even heard of racial injustice. You saw it on the news, but you're like, oh yeah, they just tripping. Americans. Yeah. And you don't think about it.
I think that's because we get it so heavy here, even though we all grew up overseas. I think because of getting it so heavy here, for being undeniably Black, it's kind of like, I don't understand how other people don't see this because I live this shit every day. So that I think that's the lens,
because it's
I'm like,
always on our minds.
I don't understand that,
and it has to be on our minds from the way we look.
I think
Right.
it's because like
all the time. But say if we were from Lagos, Nigeria, we wouldn't even. We'd be like, what?
Listen, because some Africans be like, "What's wrong with y'all?"
Right.
Right.
They really want to know
because
what's
we're
wrong.
not African enough to be in Africa. So like that's the thing. Like in Asian countries, I don't want to say all Asian countries, but for like Japan and Okinawa, like I could probably say that the way the racism works mostly, if you feel like they were being racist to you, it's because they just kind of group all foreigners into one thing, foreigners, and they don't like foreigners. If that person doesn't like them, it's because you're foreign.
Why is that?
Because that they're homogeneous. They don't want intruders. The same reason why, like, even like musically speaking, like K-pop is on the forefront right now because they licensed it to the world, and that's why they got to move forward. J-pop been doing it for decades before K-pop started doing all.
I was wondering about that because when I saw a group on like Good Morning America, I was like, "What the fuck is going on?"
BTS,
Yeah,
right.
I know, me too. I know.
These girls were fucking losing it.
BTS won awards this year and last year.
What's the other one? Blackpink
and CT. I can name all of them thanks to my daughter.
I've never seen Blackpink in my life.
Right.
But I've never looked up any of their songs. But if I heard it, I'd be like, "Oh, that's Blackpink. That's how big they are." You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm like amazed because I'm like, I know they're big where they're at, but I'm like, what happened to where you're?
No, you missed the whole boat. Whole boat.
There.
Not to be funny because we're talking about Asians, but you missed a whole boat.
Oh no.
That boat. No.
That boat. Because black people had slave boats. We just had fresh off the boat shit. So,
y'all boats was better than
we had boats too, apparently.
I gotta go.
But seriously, I don't want to go too much longer because I know it's getting long. But like, I feel like everybody who is Asian probably got the same talk about like black people and white people and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? Because even my grandmother, I told y'all, she planted a whole ass cactus when she found out my dad was trying to date my mom, like in the corner of the house because he was jumping the fence and trying to like talk to her.
Trying to stick him up.
Yeah, so, you know. And my grandmother apparently had some Okinawan dude ready for her, just ready, like to date and shit. Like I heard this like years later, but. You know, thank God, because then I would not be here right now. No. But you know what I'm saying?
Your name would be Cody, and you would be straight
no,
Okinawan.
not Cody. At least like Momoko or something. Like.
But maybe she'd be like more tolerable.
Because Asians are docile. Is that what you're saying?
Why act better Asian? You're not. You are not docile at all.
No, I'm not. I'm really not.
You're the opposite, baby. They got you messed up.
Well, here's the thing. Let's be honest, because the three of us have Asian moms. Asian women are not docile. Can we agree on that? They're not docile.
If anything, the vibe I felt from some people that had, like a lot of people that had Asian moms overseas, I'm like,
they are just as scary as the black moms.
I am afraid of some of y'all. I feel like y'all stab a bitch, like, in they sleep.
I still remember Patrick's mom's death stare one time that happened while we were stuff. Yeah. I was like, whoa, she's mad. I'm going to leave now. Just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know when my mom goes off, she goes off and she's crazy. I have to walk away. Like, I'm way taller and bigger.
Oh my God, is she
I'm
like
not staying in the same room.
Have you seen that show Fresh Off the Boat? Because the mom there is amazing. She's so fucking funny.
Yeah. My daughter seems to think I'm like her, and she'd be like, I was like, this is why our dishwasher, I call her the dishwasher. Like, I shit you not. And like our dishwashing like rack hasn't been used in months and months and months. We just dry shit on it. So, you know.
Oh, you talking about the dishwasher itself? Mm-hmm. That was a rack. That wasn't you don't use that shit.
If you go to my mom's house right now,
I use that shit twice
there's Tupperware in it and other boards and knives and shit just hanging out in there. She don't even use it as a drying rack. Asians, she got a whole nother small one.
They hand wash that shit.
Yeah, we hand wash everything. You're not gonna get my good china in the fucking dishwasher.
Ever since I've tried the dishwasher, I was like, yo, I'm hooked. Press that button, go to bed.
Do y'all wash the dish?
I ain't gonna have no ashy hands after this. Fuck that.
You wear gloves.
Brandy, are you about to say the same shit that I had to do? You wash the dishes and then put it in the dishwasher?
Yes! Yeah! Oh my God.
Is that like, do y'all
No. I was like, what? Oh my God.
You start it and run it and let it go. Yeah.
You would not believe how many times I was like, Mom. You know, like,
that's
the
what it's
purpose
for.
of the dishwasher
is to wash the dishes. No.
Yeah.
They said,
You washing
"Where's
the dishes and you put it in there for extra sterilization.
Yeah. Oh my God. Mom would say, okay, so you wash, and I would be like, I remember saying like one time, and this is when I felt like I'll just take the hit across my head because I don't even care. I'm like, why am I washing the dishes? And then I got to put them in the dishwasher. And she was like, well, smart ass, the dishwasher sanitizes it. You don't wash the dishes good enough to sanitize.
Oh no, she really called you out like that. It's the truth, though.
I think that runs in your family. I think that's PJ. PJ gets it from you. You get it from LC.
It just keeps going.
Because I'm tired. I'm annoyed with this conversation.
Okay.
Or what is that?
That's exactly what he said.
I'm annoyed
with this conversation. I'm just
player.
Not a player. Not a player. What? Jesus. Anyway, we need to wrap it up because I think the five of us could go on for like 4 hours, and I can't do that. I don't have time to like edit out stuff. So let's
you make time. You're Asian.
Any last words, Grant? Anything you want to say about all of this craziness?
I am, with all the everything that's going on in America, I'm thankful to have friends like, Brandy, you, Patrick now, to
he'll FaceTime you. You better watch out. He'll just fucking FaceTime you.
I'm down.
I want to hear you guys' views on things. Me and Brandy have talked about all the time. I asked her, I said, we've talked about colorism, why people why black people, black people, Africa.
I'm gonna let you finish Kanye style. Black people listening, when somebody who is not black asks you some shit, don't drag them for it. Be nice.
Just be nice.
Please. They're really trying to figure it the fuck out. Be nice and explain it to them.
At least they're asking.
Please. Because I'm trying to educate. I'm trying to educate myself, and I want to know what what black people go through, and how can I feel like know what you're feeling when you're trying to like bring me down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
No, that's
like Patrick said, that's how you fix it. That's how you fix it. So all y'all motherfuckers that came for Patrick, come for me. Come for me, because I'm ready for that ass.
D is out.
You came out Patrick?
Out.
Thank you. Thank you for having my back. Thank you.
I got your ass.
I got your ass.
Are you gonna clap
for me
or spread them, D?
How
ready for that?
Oh, whatever way they you gotta pay to play. Shit, I'm gonna send your ass a fucking PayPal invoice after we done, motherfucker.
Oh my god.
Cash App deposits, so I know it's real.
Cash App. My OnlyFans account.
Oh my god. Off task. Oh my god. So
and I want one more thing.
Oh yes, go ahead.
Okay. So since it's Asian American Pacific Islander, I want to show this cross from the 1930s. My grandma hid it during the war. And
what?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
She hid it, and after the war was over, she kept it, and I was like, "That's mine."
Have to keep passing that down, man.
Yeah, you do.
That's dope.
I was like, "That's mine." Can you like? I was like, "Dang!" In like,
that is dope.
In like 15 years, this shit would be like 100 years old.
That's crazy. Oh my god! Don't even say that out loud. I feel old now.
Right. Someone would take
it. Any last words, Patrick?
Yeah, well, I guess just in response to, like you said, the month, I was thinking about this the other day, and I find it so interesting how, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of the things I'm passionate about has all began or influenced by Black culture. I'm honored to be invited to these cookouts to share the laughs, but whenever something happens, whenever something bad happens, it's sad that while I can share the laughs with you guys, I can't share the struggle. Like, I don't know what it's like to have my people gunned down. I don't know what it's like for people to cross the street because of where I'm walking, for people to clutch their purses closer. Right. So, as an Asian who's, obviously, a fan of, or, whatever, it just makes me sad that I can enjoy what Black culture has contributed to my life. Just the pros, only the positives.
Right, that part.
But when it comes to
everybody wants.
But when it comes to carrying the cross, the struggle, I can't help you guys with that. And that makes me sad.
And the thing is, we won't no, because we're not black. But
Yeah.
what we can do is spread the
Right.
spread the word. Hey, this is not okay. Someone got shot, and
Yeah. And
just for jogging.
I will leave you guys with my
and if
favorite.
Wait, go ahead, Patrick. Go ahead.
Like if my black friends can let us know what we can do to help,
Oh, let me tell you about that. No, we're not gonna do that. You know why? Because we're tired of telling you what we can do. You're gonna have to figure it out. I'm sorry. I'm just keeping it real. We are listen, if you ask us about
that messes it up for
listen, if you ask us about our struggles and why something is something, then yes, we are in 2020. You know what's wrong. You already know what's wrong. It's up top.
It's true.
It's up top. You got to dismantle it from the top. That's what it is.
But in response to like the whole like pandemic situation, I'm gonna leave you with one of my favorite quotes. And it's
come on, quotes.
It's from the Joker talking to Batman. Okay, this is what he says. Okay,
I feel like Brandy and Patrick need a date. Y'all be
perfect. It says right here. This is the Joker. He says, "You see, their morals, their code. It's a bad joke, dropped at the first sign of trouble. They're only as good as the world allows them to be. I'll show you, when the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other. I'm not a monster. I'm just ahead of the curve." Boom. So when there's a pandemic, when there's, Asians ate a bat, people will fight for toilet paper. You know what I'm saying? This is from a movie that came out years ago, but he's spot on.
I remember that quote.
And that's like my favorite quote.
I'm down. I'm going to go steal it and make it
Mine
like
was
we
when
said
he was talking about the city needs a better class of criminal. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. I'm down for a better class.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah,
this was so much fun.
Yeah,
thank you for coming on to our crazy show. I
had fun. It's been a long
We're
time
out of
coming.
control is what it is. But we learned that Patrick is even more out of control.
I'm trying to keep up with you guys. I was just like, I wasn't sure the feel of it. And then when Dee started talking, I was like, we go full meter. Okay.
You can go definitely on high volume. The highest volume.
You can count on me.
No,
but with that being said, also, when it comes to my perspective, since it is Asian and Island Pacific, what's the proper terminology?
There's a few, but the
Pacific
one
Islander.
Yeah, Pacific
Islander.
I like
Island Pacific. I like to get in reverse. It sounds like
break those poi balls out.
You know how I know Dee's feeling good? He gets windy. Yeah. When he starts feeling good, he gets windy, like his body.
No, but real talk, when it comes, since it is Asian and Pacific Islander month, my gratitude goes out to y'all, because all of you that are of Asian and Pacific Islander descent. You guys made me who I am today. I have a lot of family members out in Oahu right now. Shout out to everybody that's there on my Pacific Islander family. That's actually blood family of mine that reside in Oahu. Much love to y'all. Mahalo, all of the above. And just growing up in Oki, like, it makes me who I am right now.
Right.
So I appreciate the Asians, appreciate the Blacks, and the whites and everybody else who made me who I am today. Much love to everybody who's actually an ally and legit. Much love.
Yes. Brandy, anything else?
I just want more people to realize that as frustrating as stereotypes may be for themselves, take this month to really hype it up as much as we do Black History Month. Because it's kind of sad that
because it's not
hyped. Even searching for hashtags, I could not find nearly as much. Even what we can do easily, we can post hundreds of things a day on Black history of people, places that happen. I just wasn't finding the same clicks for the island Asians, like the whole group. I'm not finding
Pacific. Just don't say. You want to say your mouth was fighting you.
Right. I was like, I don't want to say the wrong thing. But I'm like, anyone who's not Black except for white. There we go. No. But I don't want people to get caught up into stereotypes and thinking that you guys just sell hair and do nails and toss up fried rice, and you know what I mean. Like,
I can make some bomb ass fried rice.
Stereotypes.
No, I get that they're legit, but it's like that's not all they are.
No, but I do all three.
Not all they are.
So much more.
And just math and doing technical shit. Way more than that. So take the time to break down. Which
FYI, I did not get a good grade in math, so I don't know what kind of Asian I am. Yeah, algebra 2, I was done. I was like, C-, that's good enough for me.
Don't like give into those stereotypes. Like, take the time to really see people for who they are and where they're at, and just appreciate that without putting more shit on them that they didn't ask to be there.
I just like, that's really good. I feel like if ever there comes a time that when I hopefully never get arrested again, because last time I got arrested I had to pick, like, am I going to put African American or Pacific Islander? I picked Pacific Islander because I knew that would be a lighter sentence. I hope that shit
does somebody
ends.
good, don't it?
I'm just saying, the fact that we had to still think like that is
just like a lighter sentence clears the skin.
Girl, listen.
What's the lotion?
Like, what you want me to do? Speak Japanese? I don't know. To prove it, I don't know. But you know what I mean? The fact that
you could do that too, just flip that right on.
It's weird, but it's true. And being in both sides, being brown and black, it's like so weird to see both sides either fight each other or support each other depending on where you're at. That's because that's all I see is either you're so extremist, Asian extremist, black that you don't like the other, as well as like non-POC people, or you support each other. And I hope that like eventually we all come together and dismantle the shit, you know, with the help of our other Caucasian allies. I don't know. It's wishful thinking, but we're going to keep talking about Asian shit the rest of the month too. Just, you know, just like we did February, like for like Black History Month, which isn't May like Women's History Month too?
Fuck women. We're talking about
I was just gonna say we still can't get like, because we don't have a whole month to ourselves for nothing. Nobody.
Well, we did say like something about Mother's Day, but again, I think that ties into people categorizing a struggle, and they're like Asian or Black struggle. Blacks were worse, so you guys can have a month, but we did way more worse here, so we're not gonna hype y'all up.
Isn't it crazy? It's crazy. But you know, again, you guys, thanks for coming. Hopefully you guys come back, because you know, how long is this quarantine? I don't know, probably till next year is what I'm looking at.
That's what I said.
I think I'm down. I think it's till next year. But if you've enjoyed our podcast thus far, please make sure you check out and subscribe to your favorite podcast platform. And if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, like, comment, hit that notification bell. Our regular episodes, The Triangle, drops every Thursday at noon Central. If you're into low brow, hilarious news, check out our News Angle episodes on Mondays at 9 a.m. Listen to it when you're bored. I mean, you ain't doing nothing. I'm just saying. Play us in the background, but the YouTube is funnier. I'm just saying. And then everybody check out Tech Ninja Productions. It's dope. His shit is dope. I'm gonna put the link below in our description box, so make sure you check it out. I'm telling you, it is worth your time. I be laughing, crying my eyes out. His doggy is cute and hilarious, because he be wanting everything he's eating. Everything. He was like, spicy chicken sandwich? Let me get some, nigga.
And then Patrick's like, did my dog call me a nigga?
Funny, because my dog is black. Yeah. Yo, my dog is black. I was like, yeah, my dog is black. That's funny. That is so funny.
Yeah. Oh my god! I think
I just surround myself. I just surround myself with the culture.
Surround myself with black things. Think black.
Right.
Think black.
Oh my god!
You want the brown dog? No, the black dog. I'm already brown. Give me the black one.
Give me the black one.
Give me the blackest.
You already know what it is.
God. Anywho, look, they keep going. This is what I deal with every week. Okay, they just keep talking over me.
Is that dog afraid of cops? Yeah. I want the dog afraid of cops.
That dog got like 3 baby mamas, like 3.
Dang! Oh my god, that just reminded me real quick. Like, have you guys seen the episode of Family Guy where Brian hates black people and he starts like biting and like barking at black folks? Remember that?
No, I've never seen that one.
And he kept checking himself. He was like, "Oh my god!"
He was like, "No, what did I just do?" It was learned behavior. Anyway,
I gotta check that out.
Stay woke, stay blessed, stay logical, and stay safe. We'll catch you guys next week.
But y'all don't hear me though.
But y'all don't hear him.
Oh my God.
I had to get it Japanese. But y'all don't hear me.
Oh no. Bye guys.
Sarah doesn't want to